There are lots of things that I was scared of as a kid, and the dentist was 100% one of them. And I think I had genuinely good reason for it back then. Metal going inside of my mouth and scraping my teeth wasn't exactly what I would call something I enjoyed. In reality, it was something that made me feel like death itself. The constant fear when you're sitting in that chair of something going wrong was a big motivator for this fear I had. I did recently have something done which I will be referring to later in this video that was a real push for me to make this video. So I'm going to talk about my experiences personally with the dentist, and you can let me know down below in the comments if you relate to any of this. Because I just feel like in half of these stories I'm just getting bent over all the time. The main thing I remember from when I was a kid is that I was horrified even when I just sat down in the chair to begin with, because just that pressure alone has you feeling so scared, because the moment that chair falls back and you're facing straight up at the ceiling, there is only one thing going through your head right now. And that's to relax. So you manage to pull yourself together a little bit, you take a deep breath and you think to yourself that it's all going to be okay. But then you look up and you realize very quickly that they're starting soon. Yeah, not exactly the best experience. I actually don't think I can explain to you the fear I had on that car ride on the way to the dentist. Actual fear deciding to have its way with me as I approach my impending doom. I guess I'm being a little over-exaggerated, but this is the mind of a child. I was horrified when I was a kid. Hey, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but I just personally think that going to the dentist was such a horrifying task when I was a kid. And plus, even today, I still have my own reasons as to why I don't like going to the dentist. Even though I do still go to the dentist, let's not get that confused at all. Just recently, I actually got a huge thing done at the dentist that was the main reason I made this video to begin with. And that was getting my wisdom teeth removed, which was probably the worst dental experience I've ever gone through. And I'm going to be breaking that shit down in full detail, so get ready. And listen to this beautiful, wonderful story of me getting molars ripped out of my mouth, which sucked way more than it had to. Most people only have 2 teeth get pulled out of their mouth. Unfortunately for me, I had 4. Yeah, you heard that right. 4 goddamn teeth were pulled out of my mouth, which was pretty annoying considering I had them all pulled out the day of Halloween. Which, if you haven't guessed it, means that I spent my last year of Halloween completely drugged up in bed just watching movies, which was surprisingly more comfortable than it sounded. This is just a little reminder that if you are liking the video, go ahead and hit subscribe and like the video. That would really help me out a lot. If you could, that would be great. Thank you. Now let's get back into the video. This is editing me talking. My bonehead of a brain fucked up the animation in one part, so just don't mind the red X. Having 4 teeth be pulled out of your mouth while you're drugged is something that I am so glad I will never be doing again in my entire life. So there is a bright side. Even though I may not have felt anything in the moment, there was definitely discomfort after the fact. Which I low-key do prefer, other than just having to sit there with my mouth wide open, conscious, while they pull teeth out of me. So at least there's that. Even while knowing that, I was still really nervous on my way to the appointment, because I didn't even know how it was going to be. I didn't know if they were going to knock me out at first. I didn't know if they were going to give me time to be awake. Luckily, they knocked me out the moment I sat down in the chair, which I do have to admit was a big sigh of relief, and the whole thing was beautiful after that. Obviously, I'm bullshitting. There wouldn't be 4 minutes left in the video if everything was beautiful after that. And I would be lying if I said that didn't add on to my childhood PTSD of the dentist. Those times were so rough. I remember there was one time I didn't let the dentist do anything to me for like an hour and a half because I was horrified. I just put my arms up and prayed to Jesus. Anyways, back to the wisdom teeth. The worst of it was definitely the infection I got after the surgery, which let me tell you will bend you harder than the recovery. I remember my face blown up almost as bad as the initial surgery. Then just like last time, it felt really quick, about 30 minutes, and I remember driving back feeling way worse than the surgery, though it was probably because I wasn't drugged up. Although if it was an offer, I would have humbly accepted it with pride and joy. And this is of course the exception that I had the knowledge of the pain I would have went through without those medications. Because let me tell you, there is a reason they drug you up as much as they do, because that shit hurts. You're probably wondering why the style changed and the animation looks a little different. And that's probably because that footage that you just saw was animation that I made a few months ago and intended to release earlier. Which I am just completely overjoyed that I finally got to release it and finish the video in its making. I took a break for a few months from animating and making videos just to make sure that the animation quality got a little better. Because as I said at the start of the channel, I am learning animation as I make these videos. And that might be a shit process, but hey, at least it works. I can't tell you the amount of times I've been sitting at my desk on my tablet in the process of making a new video, and I get a groundbreaking idea that completely shakes the foundation of how I make animations in general. And let me tell you, I am so stupid for not figuring this out earlier, because once it hit me, I felt like an idiot. One singular line changed everything! Any problem I had with animation, anything, immediately was gone and fixed the moment I added one singular line to the mix, one line into my process. I genuinely can't believe how much one line fixed so much. One line of animation led me to learning the 12 principles of animation, which is very important. So that's my big explanation as to why I haven't posted any content in about 7 months. Even though I should have put more time into learning about it instead of just jumping forward, I'm glad that I'm getting better rather than just sitting at my desk hovering over my tablet wondering when I'm gonna improve instead of actually taking the time to improve. So I guess you could say that's just the procrastination on my part. Anyway, back to the dentist. Now that I'm sitting here with my cheeks not exploded out and everything finally healed, I'm really relieved that I got all 4 of them out when I did, because if I had to go through all that again, I think I would have a genuine mental collapse. Even after getting over my fears of the dentist and realizing that they're just doing their jobs, and after getting over all of those stupid experiences just because I was a pussy in a chair, doesn't really mean that I like going to the dentist now. That's not what that means at all. It just means I had too many irrational fears as a kid, and some of them stuck with me even as I grew older in time.